The shocking arrest of a number of ANC members in what has been held as a majestic sting operation has rocked South Africa's political elite, rattling the very foundations of the ruling party. What started as a low-key clandestine probe has now blown wide open as a national scandal with ramifications that have the potential to redefine the leadership of the African National Congress and possibly mar the legacy of President Cyril Ramaphosa. The swoop has incited widespread public outcry with outrage, shock, and speculation flooding in from across the land and the world. In this report, we examine the events leading to this point up close, the person arrested, what it entails for President Ramaphosa, and what could happen in the days to come. The narrative is thick with political intrigue, historical nuance, and profound questions about the future of South Africa. To understand the seriousness of the current crisis, one has to go back. Since the demise of apartheid in 1994, the ANC has held sway as South Africa's ruling party. To most, it previously embodied hope, opposition, and freedom. But over time, the party's legitimacy has eroded steadily through Indonesian wars, corruption charges, and waning public confidence. Scandals concerning characters such as former President Jacob Zuma heavily tarnished the ANC's reputation. When Cyril Ramaphosa became president, he pledged reform, pledging to purge the party, restore moral leadership, and win back the trust of South Africans. Change seemed possible for a moment. But even with commissions, probes, and words, critics say that Ramaphosa's attempts have been too slow, incomplete, and ultimately powerless to stem the entrenched corruption that continues in both the party and the government. And now, this latest sting operation is a watershed moment. Early reports indicate that a number of top ANC officials have been detained on charges of fraud, embezzlement of public funds, and abuse of power. They were arrested quietly and unexpectedly, leaving even party insiders startled. Theater-like scenes of police raids and party loyalists in handcuffs have filled television news and social media with reports of nationwide outrage and outrage. Although Ramaphosa has not yet made a general public address, his inner circles claim that he is shaken. His latest public outing depicted a man under pressure with many questioning if he still had his party in his grip. The main question being asked now is whether Ramaphosa was oblivious to the corruption taking place on his watch or even if he deliberately chose to ignore it. Supporters argue that the arrest proves his anti-corruption drive is working, demonstrating that no one is above the law. They say Ramaphosa is empowering law enforcement to do its job without interference. A sign of integrity and leadership. However, critics see the opposite, a president losing his grip on the party. They claim that if top officials can operate with such audacity, then systemic failure is evident. Others have even charged that Ramaphosa is employing the arrest as a weapon of political elimination against his opponent within the ANC. Where the truth may actually lie is somewhere in between. But no one can deny the dimensions of the crisis for the party and the country. This sting operation, months in the making, according to reports by a combined task force of intelligence and law enforcement agencies working undercover, was executed with precision. Some of the men arrested had been suspected of illegal activity for a long time, but nothing had ever been done. That has now changed. If the evidence is to hold up in court, the consequences could be lengthy prison terms and a series of further arrests. Sources claim that this might only be the tip of the iceberg and that other names within the ANC will become implicated imminently. If that is true, this could balloon the scandal into a full-blown purge that reaches every level of the party. What does this portend for the ANC's future and for Ramaphosa himself? That is to be determined. Some analysts say this might be exactly the kind of reset the party needs, an unpleasant but needed move toward reform and accountability. Others worry that the harm cannot be undone. The popularity of the ANC has been declining, particularly among the youth voters and urban residents. If the party fails to credibly show openness and self-cleaning, it will lose its grip on power. Similarly, if Ramaphosa is seen as weak or indecisive, elements within the ANC will seek to oust him ahead of the next general election. Political analysts are keeping an eye on Ramaphosa. They think he needs to move now, speak candidly to the public, seize complete control of the agenda, and make drastic changes. Others caution that revealing too much too fast could expose hidden divisions that the party is not ready to withstand. Ramaphosa is treading a balancing act. He needs to lead without disempowering influential power brokers, establish control without sparking further revolt. The stakes are as high as ever. Meanwhile, ordinary South Africans are watching and waiting. They are demanding answers, justice, and genuine change. Many feel betrayed, exhausted by years of political theater and empty promises. They want a government they can believe in again, one that serves the people, not itself. Beyond national borders, the scandal could also damage South Africa's global standing. Foreign investors and allies might start to see the nation as politically unstable, which might affect everything from financial policy to international diplomacy. How the crisis is managed over the next few weeks might determine the course of South African democracy for decades to come. It raises deep questions: power, accountability, leadership, and truth. It urges the ANC to reflect on how much it has diverted from its original values and if it has the intention of changing course. For Ramaphosa, there is still a possibility for him to step up, but the clock is ticking. South Africans do not ask for silence. They ask for truth, leadership, and that nobody will be above the law. As this saga continues, we will be tracking every step. When there are more questions to be answered, more people to be heard, and more to be uncovered, we have only just begun. Share your views. Is this the start of actual political change or merely another chapter in a long-running series of failed promises? What next for President Ramaphosa? And can the ANC be trusted with leadership? To understand the seriousness of the current crisis, one has to go back. Since the demise of apartheid in 1994, the ANC has held sway as South Africa's ruling party. To most, it previously embodied hope, opposition, and freedom. Meanwhile, ordinary South Africans are watching and waiting. They are demanding answers, justice, and genuine change. Many feel betrayed, exhausted by years of political theater and empty promises. If you enjoyed this report, please like, subscribe, and enable notifications to get updates. Your help keeps us bringing you the stories that matter. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.